pick the bigger
This is of course to tie up with the image that we now are known as the Marconi Stallions, and as you can see, the beautiful.
TV. It's a little shy. It's a little shy of the TV, brother. It's a stallion.
Oh, he's in the U-turn. Left back of the U-turn. Yep, I'm here. Oh, okay. For Sydney United, Manus Lamond. Yeah, number 16. And for Marconi, Eric Christodoulou. Yep, okay.
Direction. Okay. Then everybody remember it.
Sorry? Watch. We haven't got it to line, Harry.
Thank God.
Yeah, cheer in, mate. Freebie. Good. There. No, cheer in.
Oh, you ran in.
Cheer in, yeah.
The Stallion meets Yogi Bear here at Marconi Stadium.
There's the crows, look.
Yeah.
The crows.
The crows.
Crows.
Can you assume the position, please, in your hosting shot, please?
Yes, sir, Mighty Master.
Am I right? Off the shoulder?
Now
Off the
you
shadow?
want me? The
I
sun.
want the sun on your face, and I want you in the shade. You look.
Yeah.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful stallion, the Marconi Stallion, ridden by.
Good evening and welcome to Marconi Stadium for this Ericsson Cup clash between Marconi-Fairfield and near neighbours Sydney United. Well, a beautifully balanced encounter in this Western Sydney derby, and its second, Bertha's fifth, respectively, as we go into this match tonight. Just reminding you, last weekend, Marconi graduated from a tough test against UTS Olympic. In that game, it was a 0-0 draw. Sydney United slightly out of form. They went down 2-0 to Morwell Falcons, but everything on the line here tonight. A brilliant record for Sydney United away from home, and to see whether they can maintain that record, I welcome our regular guests again, Steve Darby and Bertie Mariani. Good evening, gentlemen. Steve, firstly, with the midweek news, the explosive news was that Sean Babbage, the striker for Sydney United, was suspended from the game for 4 weeks. What's that going to do to Sydney United's lineup?
To be honest, not a lot, I don't think. He only came on for 7 minutes before when he actually got the incident happened. So he's really been used as a shock tactic for Sydney United. I don't think it'll have a major effect, to be honest. All right, well, the other main effect, it looks like Manus Lamond will start for Sydney United tonight. Fact or fiction, is Manus Lamond the big threat that Manfred Schaefer's worried about? Well, it's almost like heads or tails or red or black if you play these new poker machine games, because he can be magnificent. He can also be absolutely appalling at times. Like the miss last week against Morwell Falcons, as we said on kickoff, that's the type of miss that cost the coach's job, because he did everything right, did 2 marvellous dummies, and then stuck it over the bar. You have to put them in at the highest level, and maybe that's the difference why Manners hasn't gone on to play for the Socceroos.
Well, Bertie Mariani, the important thing for Marconi is the stability that's returned to the side, and it looks like there may be 1 or 2 changes to Marconi, but certainly they're a stable outfit and they're starting to look quite good.
Yes, Robert. I mean, obviously we've discussed right throughout the coverage as we've been doing them that Marconi have had a number of players purchased, and they've just started to stabilise their formation, especially in the back line. We've had John Paul Demaruni come back, Gary Van Egmond. Their purchase of Dominic Longo has added stability, but also some bite to their defence and also some speed. So, you know, I mean, from that, since they've been together as a unit, they've had a lot of stability, and I think from there they're going to go further and further and gain a lot more points.
Well, earlier in the week, Bertie, on kickoff, you pinpointed the importance of Harper and Awaratifi. That clash between them and Babic, Popovic, it's going to be explosive. The sparks should fly there.
Well, Robert, I mean, you look at the two sides, they're very well balanced right across the park. The only place that they're not is in the forward line, where Marconi has that edge, that experience with Harper and Awaratifi. Whereas with the return of Manus Lamont, Sydney United do get that little bit of experience, but they've still got a couple of young runners.
Well, just shots there of the real thing. The Stallion here. Obviously, the main animal.
Actually, I thought it was Scalacci when I first saw it. It came quite close to us, Robbie, and fortunately it was going quite slow. Probably not like Scalacci, but so like some of the horses I've backed.
Well, references made by Manfred Schaefer, the Marconi coach, to Manus Lamont. Certainly, that will be a person that's going to be under close wraps tonight.
I think the key tonight will be, OK, Manus is very important, and Francis and Andy Harper, but the key to me is 2 goalkeepers. Catlin's been in superb form. Perosh has been under pressure. He hasn't played badly, but everyone's comparing him to Zelko Kalic, and that's not fair on the young kid, but it's going to happen. He's got to live with that for the rest of his life, or until he moves somewhere else. But in reality, it's down to the keepers to me. Whoever performs well tonight, because I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game, and it could come down to a keeping great save or a keeping error.
Well, Itek Gensch, when we interviewed him last week, and referred to the fact that he was disappointed, very disappointed with his contribution in midfield. They'll have to improve there to get any sort of authority over a fairly confident middle 3 for Marconi.
I think it will be a tight game. I think it'll be a tight game because of the atmosphere. I mean, Marconi have done everything right here tonight. There's a big crowd. You see the lads coming out now. There's Renault, who's making his debut on the bench. Young Luke Castley's coming back from injury. But it's a big crowd in here. They've got the Stallion. They've got a man of the match. There's a Scundy brothers man of the match. There's a Yogi Bear running around. I mean, players like atmospheres like this, and I think it'll be a smashing game.
Should be a fantastic game. Only 2 points separating the side, and the man behind the microphone, Michael Cockrell, the derby is ready and poised.
Yes, you're 100% right there. Thank you very much, Robert Wheatley. Well, it's been 5 years since Marconi have defeated their near neighbours, Sydney United. Will tonight be a different story? We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, we'll just take a quick break for the national anthems. Well, there it is, the national anthem, and a full house here at Bossley Park. What a good sight that is to see so many people in at the Marconi Stadium here at Bossley Park. We'll take a check now at the lineups. Marconi-Fairfield first in goals, Bob Catlin. A defence which includes Gary Van Egmond, Robert Stanton, Dominic Longo and Mike Smith. The midfield, Eric Christodoulou, Paul Souris, Maloney and John Paul Demaroni. And up front, the familiar duo of Andrew Harper and Francis Awaratifi. On the bench tonight for the first time this season, Luke Castley, Brendan Renault and Vlado Zoric. A big game for this man tonight, Eric Christodoulou back in the starting lineup after 3 weeks on the bench. Eric Christodoulou, a big match player, keen to do well against his former club. Sydney United, meantime, make 2 changes. John Perosh in goals, a backline, Popovic, Drilic, Mark Babic, Kuprashak and Ante Moric. A midfield trio of Atek Gent, Robert Ennis and Paul Belokovic, Manis Lamond and Ante Milicic up front. On the bench tonight, Mark Rudin, Richard Plesser and young Chad Gibson. Well, it's game number 238 in the A-League for that man, Manis Lamond, but I doubt there has been a more important fixture for him. Back in the team for the first time this season and desperately needing to restart his career with Sydney United. The referee tonight from Sydney, Con Diomas, a familiar figure for our Sports Australia viewers. He has been on our Match of the Day many times already this season. And after some rain in Sydney for much of the week, the skies have cleared tonight. And apart from a chill wind, it is perfect football conditions here at Bossley Park. Certainly that has encouraged the local supporters out here in force. Marconi drawing disappointing attendances for much of the season, but they'll be very, very happy tonight to have a good crowd in here for the local derby. A great deal of pride at stake. So the toss has been taken. It'll be Sydney United to kick off, playing into the northern end of the ground in their away strip of all black. Marconi in their traditional 2-blue strip. That's the whistle from referee Con Diomas. The game is underway, and it's Milicic there pushing the ball forward, watched over the line by Mike Smith. I'll take this opportunity now to thank to welcome my co-commentator Tony Pisano. And Tony, great situation, great setting here for a game of football.
Good evening, Mike. You're right again. I spent the last 3 years here at Marconi, Mike, and I've not seen a crowd as big as this. And I can look out to my left there, and there are cars streaming in. So it's a great crowd in tonight for this good game. And
well, I'll just have to cut you off there, Tony. There's a cross from Andrew Harper looking for the run at the back post there of Brad Maloney, and cleared by Sydney United, but the danger is still with Sydney United. Maloney on that far side trying to get the cross in, and he's won the first corner of the game.
As I was saying, Mike, great crowd, and there's still people trying to get in here, and the kickoff was delayed a little, which I think is a good move. But Marconi's right on the attack here, Mike, and this is something I think we're going to see a fair bit of. I think the 2 sets of centre halves today are going to have a big game.
Well, it's Di Marini with the corner from that far side of the pitch. Swings it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. The header there by Popovic. The foul committed by Dominic Longo. So a free kick to Sydney United. And the sun yet to set behind the hills in the distance. So the shadows are long here at Marconi Stadium. Don't think it'll be too much of a problem for the players. Perosh now with the free kick for Sydney United. Up over the halfway line. Smith against Drilic. Smith wins the ball. And Ennis appeals for the handball. Nothing doing, says the referee. Chris Sadula has released it behind Babic. And Aratifi's got past the goalkeeper. Can he get the shot on target? And scurrying back there in cover was Mark Babic. So good early pressure here from Marconi. I wonder whether Mark Babic has got an injury problem. He was really beaten for pace there by Aratifi. And the striker just unable to convert because Babic back there in cover. Corner to Marconi. Maloney. Encouraging start for Manfred Schaefer and his Marconi team. Towards the back post, that corner. Fisted away by Perosh, headed on by Ennis. And here comes Van Egmond to switch it wide. He's beaten the offside trap. Maloney is onside. Looked to be a handball, not given, says the referee. Now comes the cross from Di Marini. Well, slack marking there in the middle of that Sydney United defence. And Andrew Harper had the opportunity to get a shot on goal. It was wide of the mark. But already in the first 3 or 4 minutes, we've seen Marconi lay that goal under siege. Really poor picking up there by the defenders in that Sydney United defence, Tony Pisano.
It is indeed, Mike, but it's a typical way that Marconi seem to start these games. On the occasions that I've seen them, and on the occasions I've also watched them on the telly, they do start with a bang. So a typical start by Marconi.
Well, here's Sydney United now trying to get back into the game. The cross comes in from Gench. It's low, but cleared by Van Egmond. And Ennis now does well to win the ball back. It's Popovic. Good ball by Popovic in towards Lamond. Lamond watched by 2 players. He goes tumbling under the challenge of Longo. no penalty, and the ball was cleared up the pitch. Lamond in here on that pass. He got in front of Longo. He fell certainly, but I doubt it was a penalty. It's Drilic now. Good ball by David Drilic. Gench has got behind Di Marini. And the up and under from Maloney clears the Marconi lines. Very fast pace in these early stages. That's a nice ball by Stan. Unfortunately for Harper, it hit him in the back, but he's retrieved the situation. Square to Maloney. Maloney seeing a lot of possession in these early stages. Here's Stanton up from the back line. Di Marini wide to Mike Smith. Smith watched by David Drilic. And comes back inside onto his right foot, Mike Smith. Gets the cross in towards Aratifi, and it just skimmed off the top of Aratifi's head. A good cross in the end from Mike Smith. Certainly his right foot not his stronger leg, Tony Bazzano. A bit of a surprise to actually see him use it on that occasion, but he did to good effect.
Can you believe it? But he's done wonderfully well. Unlucky Francis. I think he was just a little bit too close. Obviously, he wasn't expecting Mick Smith to get it off his left onto his right, but a great ball. A great start by Marconi, Mike.
Well, Milicic seeing the ball for the first time in the game. A nice turn by Ante Milicic. He has Bolokovic out to his left. That's where the ball should go. He brings it across the penalty area instead to Lamont onto his left foot, Manus Lamont, and that took a touch from Longo and spun into the hands of the goalkeeper, Bob Catlin. Lamont seeing plenty of ball early in this game. He does have a nice left foot, Manus Lamont. On that occasion, the sting taken out of the shot by Dominic Longo. Morich with the throw, down to Milicic. Shepherded away from the ball by Van Egmond. Good ball by Van Egmond up to Aratifi, but the layoff went behind Souris. In there quickly was Enish for Sydney United. Now it's with the visitors. A good sliding tackle there by Paul Souris. Interesting to note, two former Sydney United players in this Marconi lineup tonight. Robert Stanton and Eric Christodoulou with the Crows last season, moved during the off-season to Bossley Park, and now against their former club for the first time. It's Aratifi though, bursting forward with pace, watched by Popovic, and Popovic did enough to put him off, but Smith almost getting the cross in there just before the byline. Good cover in the end from David Drilic. Well, on these early indications, Aratifi fired up for a big game tonight. He's not interested in laying the ball off Tony Bazzano. He's just going straight for goal, and his pace has caused problems already.
It will always cause problems. Francis, a type of player, Mike. But we'll just see this corner.
Well, here's the corner worked short. The cross by Di Marini missed the head of Longo, and away for Sydney United.
United, Mike, they've got to be careful. The back three, they're tending to receive the players from a deep position and not so much be tight on them. And when Francis and Andy Harper have got space to turn and run at you, once they get a head of steam up, they're going to cause all kinds of problems for this back line. I think they've got to be tight there, Mike.
Good build up here from Sydney United. That's 6 or 7 passes already. It's into the forward line now with Lamont, but too many blue shirts back there, and Souris cleans up. And that's a long ball. It's found Harper. Just as you said, he's behind the last man, Babbage. Now no support in the centre for Andrew Harper. He waits, he tries to cut it back towards the edge of the box. And in the end, Sydney United escape. But really, I'm not sure if Mark Babbage has an injury or what, but he looks to be struggling in these early stages, Mark Babbage. He's certainly not as quick as I'm used to seeing him. Babic has David Zrilic wide on the right. Zrilic showing what a versatile player is. He's playing at right fullback tonight. He's played up front, he's played in midfield, now right back. Here again is Harper in behind the defence. Again, Babic is across there in cover. And this time he gets the foot in to put the ball over for a corner kick. Manfred Schaefer will be satisfied with this early pressure from Marconi. No goals as yet, but they have come close on a couple of occasions. Di Marini with the in-swinging corner. At the near post is Al-Ratifi and Harper. Longo at the back post. Goes in short. Headed out by Kupryshak. And the switch by Kupryshak towards Popovic. Heads it down, but intercepted by Souris. Throw in to Marconi. David Zrilic. Has been the top scorer for Sydney United this season, but now playing in defence. Smith. Released again by the return ball from Harper. Smith against Popovic. He got in behind Popovic, but the cross, no problem in the end for John Perosh. The header on there by Gench. Cleared by Longo. Marconi really putting Sydney United under pressure all over the field. No time to settle on the ball whatsoever. Rushing their passes, really, Sydney United. Perosh now up the line. In there first was Souris. Gets the return from Maloney just over that touchline. So the throw in to Sydney United. Souris busy as always for the Stallions. An indication there really of how much pressure the players have been put under by Sydney United. They thought they were on the break there through Ennish, but the foul was called by referee Kondiomis. Gench tripping up Di Marini. Free kick instead to Marconi. Aitek Gench. There's a free kick by Christodoulou, laid off by Harper. The shot from Al-Ratifi, wide from Francis Al-Ratifi. Good layoff there by Harper. An indication of the understanding that is now starting to develop between these two players. It ricocheted, fortunately, in the end for Al-Ratifi. Probably should have done better under the circumstances.
Well, without a doubt, Mike, but they're there. They're creating the chances. It's only a matter of time. They've had so many shots on target or near crosses that have been deflected by the United defence. Something's going to give here.
Zrilic back towards his captain, Tony Popovic. Zrilic has continued his run up this right flank, but the pass misdirected, intercepted instead by Longo. Well, Perosh plays it into Popovic, and they might get out of this. Well, sliding in there was Di Marini on Kupryshak. Oh, well, Popovic has given it away for the second time, and what a shot that was from Eric Christodoulou. A good save in the end by Perosh. Well, Sydney United at 6s and 7s. Marconi dominating this game. A poor pass out of defence by Popovic, latched onto by Christodoulou, and down low to his right was Perosh to make an important save.
More than important save, Mike. It certainly kept them in the game, kept them at 0-0, but a very sloppy play there. Firstly by the keeper playing that the first back pass straight through the middle, and then again by Popovic. This United backline have got to concentrate a bit more.
Well, there's the near post corner by Maloney, headed out by Babic. Still Marconi have possession. Relentless. Maloney wants to get to the line to get the cross in. Another corner to Marconi. So Sydney United slightly disappointing in losing 2-0 at home last weekend to the Morwell Falcons. They are in 5th place going into this game, just 2 points behind Marconi, but it is the home side in control in these early stages. Very much so. The pressure all at that Sydney United end. Concern on the face there of Robert Ennis and the coach Branko Cellino. Maloney's corner towards the back post. Up there was Dominic Longo. He got the header down, still with Marconi. Now Hrisadulu with the low cross, headed out by Popovic. In there was Morich and fouled by Mike Smith. The referee has a word to the Scotsman, Mike Smith. Sydney United wanted to take the free kick quickly. The ball wasn't stationary, so we'll go back to the mark. A biting tackle there from Smith. Branko Cellino clearly concerned about the way his team are playing in these early stages. None of the fluency we've seen from Sydney United in the last few weeks. There is the scoreline after 15 minutes. Marconi-Fairfield 0, Sydney United 0, but it's a misleading one in many respects. Marconi have really dominated the opening passages. Perhaps Sydney United, though, can recover and start forcing the issue themselves. There was a good tackle though in midfield by Longo. Again it breaks for Marconi. 3 against 4. Good ball by Hrisadulu, almost into the path of Harper. Well cut out in the end by Popovic. Really, Sydney United need to start getting some width, Tony Bazzano. They need to start releasing players down the flanks to at least give themselves a breather. They're trying to play everything through the middle there and they're getting caught.
They are getting caught, but really just got to free himself up a hell of a lot more. He's got the pace, and there's one thing that John Paul DeMarini and Mike Smith don't like doing is chasing back. And with his pace, also the left-hand side there, Morich has not seen the ball. And I think if United, you picked it, if they're going to play well, they've got to go from the flanks on this Marconi side, open them up, and get bodies in the centre of the goal.
DeMarini and Smith interchanging positions, causing Sydney United some concern. DeMarini playing himself into form in the last 2 or 3 weeks. He had a slow start to the season, John Paul DeMarini, but now starting to really influence Marconi's game. Their captain, of course, their most experienced player and a fierce competitor, as is that man Dominic Longo. He's been a revelation since joining the club. Dominic Longo, only his 3rd game in the Marconi colours. He's on loan from Cercle Bruges in Belgium, but he really has stiffened up that Marconi defence. And the confidence, as a result, starting to flow through this side. Stanton releasing the ball up the line towards El Ratifi. Unlucky there for the big man. He's looked lively tonight as well, Francis El Ratifi.
Francis Michael's always pretty lively. I've played against him and I don't want to play against him ever again. He's always a difficult customer to mark. But you've picked it with Longo. He has stiffened up this back line, and with Suris's pace there, the 4 guys at the back are able to do their job and not worry about, you know, probably the midfielders aren't worried about the defensive duties, which has opened up John Paul and Smith into playing some great football these last couple of weeks. Not only that, Maloney's also playing very well, and it's giving the front guys, there's a big go button there.
Well, Maloney involved in some incident there off the ball with Lamont. In fact, it wasn't Maloney, it was Stanton, so Lamont tumbled under, thought he got the free kick. Nothing doing according to referee Condiomas. Sydney United need to settle down now, reorganise. They need some leadership from their captain, Tony Popovic. Plenty of talking should be going on out there. Lost their shape a little bit, Sydney United. Under pressure from Marconi, it must be said. Babbage. Up the line by Mark Babbage. Longo against Lamond. Checks out Dominic Longo. And the ball played square across his back line. Well, a lot of coaches will tell you that's an absolute cardinal sin. He got away with it on that occasion, Dominic Longo. Good battling on that far side by Morich. Well, that was a nasty challenge there by Jean-Paul Dimarini on Bilokovic, and certainly worthy of a card. There can be no questions whatsoever about that. Jean-Paul Dimarini just dived in. You can watch here, Bilokovic tackled in, and a wild challenge there from Jean-Paul Dimarini. No doubt whatsoever a yellow card, Tony Bazzano.
A good yellow card, Mike. I think sometimes there's got to be a softening. Yeah, there's got to be a softening period in these games. And John Paul, coming from the old school, he just wants to make sure. Oh well, he didn't really hit him, did he? He did go a little bit too high then, but he's from the old school, and he probably wants to make sure the rest of his midfielders start following suit.
Free kick goes the way of Sydney United. The first card of the game to Jean-Paul Dimarini, the Marconi skipper. Popovic now with the free kick, looking for the head of Bilokovic. He heads it on, cleared by Jean-Paul Dimarini. Christodoulou, wide to Souris. Well, a mix-up there by Sydney United. Souris has got in there and tries to find Harper with the cross. Good covering by Babic. Still with Marconi, though. Souris onto his left foot. Brings it back to Eric Christodoulou. Chip ball by Christodoulou almost into that space behind Kuprashak. How quickly was Perosh? The early throw now finds Gench. Good run by Ante Milicic. And diving in there was Van Egmond. So Gary Van Egmond policing Ante Milicic. Longo at this point on Manus Lamond. Drilic. A poor ball there by David Drilic. Lamond certainly called for the ball to feet and got it over his head. And there's a foul now, this time by Andrew Harper on Mark Babic. In towards Milicic. Might drop for Lamond, headed out instead by Longo. Popovic wide to Milicic. A good period here for Sydney United, but the idea was right from Ante Milicic. But the execution let him down. Goal kick to Marconi. Well, Branko Cellina will be aware that Sydney United's problems this season really are a continuation of their problems last season. That is, they struggle to score goals, just 9 in 9 games. The lowest total in the league. And they do have the best defensive record in the competition, Sydney United, but really, if you're going to win things, you really have to score a reasonable amount of goals. Certainly Sydney United's problem has been finding the net. Not so Marconi. And Harper in there on a Sydney United player. Plenty of discussions going on now between Popovic and his teammates. Aratifi getting a little bit excited there, dragged away by Kuprashak. Probably an indication of the feeling in these local derbies. It's to be expected. And a pretty clumsy challenge there by Andrew Harper on Popovic. Not a lot of malice, more like a sort of shoulder charge, a rugby league style shoulder charge by Andrew Harper.
Exchanging phone numbers, Mike. I saw really very little in that. Maybe Andy was a bit awkward. He overrun the ball overrun him, and he probably stuck a foot there. But young Mark Babic got in there and did his little bit of shoving. A good centre half's job. And then he just bounced from one to the other.
Kuprashak. The pass only finds Longo. And cleaned up again by Kuprashak. Popovic has a player left him and he goes right instead towards Gench. No problems for Bob Catlin.
None at all, Mike. Geez, I'm impressed with this Longo. He was running with Manus Lamond there, and he could just sense that that ball was going to go over to Genki, and he sort of left his player and went over to cover. Great play by the. What club is he with, Mike? Can you help me out?
He's on loan from Cercle Bruges in Belgium. Bruges. Dominic Longo, he has been playing in Europe for 3.5 years, so that sort of experience quite obvious here in the Ericsson Cup. Quality centre half, no doubt about that whatsoever. Bamford Schaefer Milicic against 3. He's done well to lay it off towards Bilokovic. Still with Paul Bilokovic. There's the shot from Paul Bilokovic. 1-0 to Sydney United. Very much against the run of play. Sydney United go in front. The goal coming after 24 minutes. The scorer, Paul Bilokovic. He just burst into that penalty area on the left-hand side. And the low shot beat the goalkeeper, Bob Catlin. So a fine strike there by Paul Bilokovic. Just his second goal in the Ericsson Cup. Brute strength really from the midfielder. Through one tackle, through two, and a lovely finish there. Catlin really had to cover that near post. No fault of the goalkeepers, just a good clean finish there by Paul Bilokovic. He shrugged off Souris, he got in behind De Marini, and no chance whatsoever for Bob Catlin. 1-0 to Sydney United.
Sheer power of the man, Mike, when he just pulled away from Souris. He's got the ball at his feet, and Souris isn't slow, and he was behind him. He knew he couldn't bring him down. John Paul in an awkward position, also knowing that, you know, a trip up and it's a penalty, but what a great goal, what a great finish. That's really put the cat amongst the pigeons, because I didn't think United deserve a lead, but give full credit to the young lad. He's put it away, and he's put his team well in front here, and you know United, once they do get a goal up, that could be it.
Certainly the league's best defensive team, always a hard nut to crack. The strike coming after 24 minutes from Paul Bilokovic. Just his second in the Ericsson Cup. I remember when he scored his first goal, it was on his debut, in fact, last season against Parramatta Eagles. So goal number 2 for Paul Bilokovic, and what a place to score it in the local derby against Marconi. Let's see now what Marconi are made of. The home side dominating the game really for the first 20 minutes, but now find themselves behind on the scoreboard. And Al-Ratifi against Kuprashak. That has been a long running battle over many years between Kuprashak and Al-Ratifi. And just good clean fun really. The referee was perfectly positioned to see what was going on. They're only a metre or so away from the incident. Free kick to Marconi. De Marini can float it towards the edge of the box. Harper making the run across the pitch. Looking for Al-Ratifi, headed away by Kuprashak. Longo now for Marconi. And Van Egmond chips the ball up, almost got in behind Kuprashak. Well, plenty of tough physical challenges going on out there, as to be expected. Dominic Longo not pulling out of a tackle. A hasty clearance by Mark Babbage. He knows he's in for a tough evening, having to mark Andrew Harper. Always busy off the ball, Andrew Harper. Smart player, knows when to make his runs. Moves his marker around the field. Maloney in short, gets the 1-2 from Smith. Comes outside Bilokovic. Maloney chips it up towards Souris, heads it down. Al-Ratifi now trying to control the ball, still with Al-Ratifi. And in the end, Moritz back there for Sydney United. Just a half chance really for Marconi. In the end, the numbers were there when it counted for Sydney United. Well, nipping in there is Bilokovic. He's got that ball off the toe of De Marini. Unmarked down the left flank. Bilokovic tries to cut it in short for Lamont. It might fall for Gench, it will. Gench has time to measure his cross, chips it towards the back post. No one there in the end for Sydney United. The break really orchestrated by Bilokovic, and the ball almost fell to Lamont. It went wide of him towards Aitik Gench. And Branko Chelina unhappy that there was nobody in where it counted at the moment for Sydney United. That was a real chance gone begging. Marconi survive. Gary Van Egmond, very experienced player in the A-League. 193 games. Made his debut back in 1983, so 12 years in the Ericsson Cup for Gary Van Egmond. Nice skills by Aratifi. In the end, the ball goes over the sideline. Handball against Ante Milicic. Two goals against Olympic 2 weeks ago. Got Ante Milicic off the mark as far as scoring is concerned. Looking to extend that sequence tonight against Marconi. So 30 minutes gone. It's Sydney United 1, Marconi 0. The goal scorer after 24 minutes, Paul Bilokovic. Marconi with it all to do. Maloney goes tumbling down there. The free kick wasted. Now it might drop for Lamont. Back pass by Longo and cleared by Bob Catlin. Milicic needs width. He gets it from Lamont. A nice ball by Milicic. Out coming off his line is Bob Catlin. Well, Lamont was onside. I think when he looked up and saw Bob Catlin running at him, he decided discretion was the better part of valor. Tony Fasano.
Well, I would have got out of Bob's way as well, but what a great ball by Ante Milicic. I thought Manus maybe could have got to it a little bit quicker, but there was Big Bob, wasn't there?
And the ball came off Bilokovic, so it'll be a throw to Marconi. Well, in fact, it's a throw to Sydney United. I thought that came off Bilokovic. Offside, getting the return ball was Ante Moric. An elementary error, really. Marconi get the chance to relieve their line with a free kick. Maloney dropping back to receive the ball short from his defence. Stanton, the sweeper. Looking for Aratifi. In there first, though, was Ante Moric. Nice turn out by Robert Ennish. He saw the run by Gensch. That's where the ball was supposed to go. It didn't get there, and in the end, Smith was in there battling away for Marconi. He's done well, Mike Smith. Maloney. In first, though, was Mark Babbage. Well, strength there really from Andrew Harper. Lovely turn by Andrew Harper. Showing the line by Mark Babbage. He's got past Babbage. Across there is Popovic, still with Andrew Harper. And goes inside to Andrew Harper. What a run this is from Andrew Harper. And in the end, he gets the corner kick. So he did it all himself there, Andrew Harper. Superb close skills, lovely turn, and in the end wins the corner kick.
You just don't learn that in the school book, does he? The school teacher. But wonderful turn of skill. He had three players there, and then that last bit on the edge of the box where he slipped it in between Babbage and Popovic and decided to go for another run. Wonderful play by Andy Harper.
The corner from Maloney. At the near post is Harper and Aratifi. Too low though. It might break, almost did for Mike Smith. He saw the ball too late there, Mike Smith. So it's a goal kick to Sydney United. Stanton brings it down. Maloney now. Nice turn and dummy by Christodoulou. Feeds it in behind the defence. Suris has got pace, but a good brave save in the end by John Perosh. Saw the danger off his line very quickly was John Perosh. Nice pass in there by Christodoulou. And a good brave save by John Perosh. At the other end there's danger, almost a disaster for Marconi. They escape. Bob Catlin came out and missed, still with Sydney United. So end-to-end stuff here. Sydney United, though, the team with the goal. Scorer, that man there, Paul Bolokovic. Definitely a competitive edge in this game. Sydney United almost going in front, well, further in front, I should say. The lofted pass, perhaps a misunderstanding between Longo and Catlin. Catlin out with the header. He should really stick to using his gloves. Not the best of headers by Bobby Catlin there. He got away with it.
Again, Mike, that ball from Milicic. He's going to get plenty of gas out of that. He's got Manis out here on the right and also Zrilic.
Christodoulou busy in midfield. The dummy there by Harper. He thought John Paul Demarani was continuing his run. Cleaning up is Bolokovic. Good turn there by Ante Milicic. He's drawn the foul, no doubt whatsoever about that. Just too quick on the turn there for Gary Van Egmond. Free kick quickly taken. And a shot by Bolokovic. Well wide of the mark. So satisfaction on that Sydney United defence. The goalkeeping coach Steve Watson urging his team on. He'll love that scoreline. Robert Stanton wants someone to come short. Nobody really interested. Has to go long from Stanton up the line towards Aratifi against Kuprashak. Got his head to the ball, Aratifi, but only over the sideline. So it's a throw in to Sydney United.
Mike, the more I watch this Robert Ennis play, the more I think he is a class act. He sort of weathered that storm there that first 15 minutes, and now he's instructing. He's probably the youngest player in that United team. They're all pretty young, but he's actually, you know, dictating the terms in there and letting his players know where to run, where not to run, and he's doing a good job.
Popovic's pass allows Gensch to get space up this right flank. He's got plenty of room. To Gensch trying to get back there is Demarani. And he beat Demarani there. To Gensch, the second man in, the firm tackle came from Stanton. He's continued his run, Robbie Stanton. He'll get the ball back from Smith, or he should. Good work there by Stanton. Christodoulou looking much more comfortable tonight in the centre of that midfield. Here's Maloney now, watched by Bolokovic. Wide right is El Ratifi. Plenty of players in the middle for Marconi, but too strong there was Bolokovic. And El Ratifi starting to get a little bit of pressure there from the crowd. They wanted him to get the ball into the box. Instead, it's Sydney United with possession. Lamont. Good skills by Lamont. Nice pass into the feet of Milicic. Marconi break now through Maloney. Back there though quickly was David Zrilic. Good switch by Babic to Kuprashak. Paul Suris making a number of important tackles for Marconi tonight. Throw in. There's the shot from Robert Ennis, an awkward bounce in front of the goalkeeper. No problems in the end for Bob Catlin. A sign of the confidence, though, of Robert Ennis, recruited from Melbourne SC and member of the Australian youth team this year, Robert Ennis. Certainly a player of the future. And Smith has done well there to get through Zrilic, still with Mike Smith. And he's continued his run, Mike Smith. He's onside. Sydney United caught square. Let's see what Mike Smith can do. In towards the near post. Again, a good save from John Perosh. Well, he's been under plenty of pressure in recent weeks, John Perosh. He knows he has to play well each and every game to keep his place, and so far so good. Good, confident goalkeeping there, and in particular, good positioning, Tony Bazzano.
Oh, read the situation straight away. He knew it had to come to the near. Francis was a little bit late there, as you can see. Mind you, Kubrasek did a good job, but Perosh has made 3 pretty good stops. One shot from Istradulu early. The one-on-one with Paul Souris, where that had to be a very brave save, because Paul Souris, I know from Apia, he just doesn't pull out of those situations. And again there, and good luck to the kid. As Steve Darby pointed out, he shouldn't be compared to anyone. He is his own person, and he's not a bad keeper.
Well, Sydney United trying to break down this right through Zrilic and Milicic. The ball fed back to Catlin by Dominic Longo. And it all starts again through Stanton. On this left flank is Di Marini. In towards the centre where Al Ratifi had made the run. The ball dropped short though to Kuprashak. Zrilic finds Gench. Gench turns inside Di Marini. Good possession play here by Sydney United. Switch wide left by Ennis to Moric. Gets the ball back, Robert Ennis. Very much the organiser now, Robert Ennis. Chips the ball in towards the space behind the defence. Milicic didn't continue his run. Ante Milicic has found space on that left flank, watched by Van Egmond onto his right foot. Cross cleared by Stanton. Credit to Sydney United, they've really succeeded in slowing the pace of this game down. Tony Bazzano, Marconi, a team who really like to pressure their opposition all over the pitch to unsettle them, to put them off their game. And it was certainly Marconi in control in that first 15 to 20 minutes, but since Sydney United have got the goal, they've succeeded in slowing the pace down and starting to dictate really the pattern of the game.
Well, that they're doing, Mike. They're doing it quite comfortably at the moment, aren't they? They've stopped Mike Smith and John Paul Di Marini down that left-hand side. And I think that's why Coach Chalina has actually put Zrilic there for his pace. But the defence seems a lot more organised. Here comes a yellow card, a silly yellow card.
Well, Robert Ennis, the second man into the book there of the referee, Kondiomis, kicking the ball away after the free kick had been awarded. He says what for? Obviously, it was for kicking the ball away. So, yellow card number 2 from Kondiomis. And really, that is an important rule these days, Tony Bazzano. You want to keep the game flowing. Referees under instructions to clamp down on time wasting, and really, we've all got to support that.
Too right. They don't want to be, the referees, my mate, they don't want to be booking people left, right and centre. You know, they want the game to flow as much as possible. So what you don't need is someone foolish enough to pick it up and throw it away or kick it away. It's just a cheap foul. Their fouls at my club Apia, the lads get fined $25 because that's all we can afford.
So they can pay your wages, Tony. Here comes a cross from Moric now. Free here is Lamond. Heads it back towards Milicic. Still in the area, danger zone, but a brave header in the end from Mike Smith. Given away, though, by Brad Maloney. Ennis now looking to feed his strikers. Here's Zrilic through the middle. Needs a good tackle from Souris, and it came. The Crows still pushing forward. And a foul by Ante Moric right in front of the referee. Suarez had won the ball and tripped up by Ante Moric. And for once, Aratifi's got the better of Popovic. And a diving header there by Kuprashak. Great defending there by Valimir Kuprashak. There were players in the middle for Marconi. And this time, it was Kuprashak back in cover. Corner kick to the Stallions to be taken by John Paul Di Marini, the left foot of his. Great crowd in here at the Marconi Stadium. They'll be wanting a goal from the home team, though. Di Marini gets a second chance. The header again by Kuprashak. The shot there by Andrew Harper. And again, John Peros distinguishes himself in that Sydney United goal. He's done nothing wrong tonight at all, John Peros. He's having a fine game. The ball dropped here for Harper. He hit it well on the volley. And again, probably the most important aspect of that save was the positioning of the goalkeeper.
Positioning again, Mike, excellent. But there was Popovic just running in front of him, so he would have seen it very, very late indeed. Great save, great stuff, actually.
Ennis again, the culprit. So a free kick to Marconi. Taken quickly and short now. Trying to work the play through midfield. Good build-up play here. Aratifi's into the box. Squares it. It might break there for Smith. The shot by Mike Smith. Off the crossbar or the upright, I'm not sure which. But Sydney United escaped. The ball dropped for Mike Smith on his favourite left foot. And he hit it well enough. The outswinger, well, right on the corner there. Off the woodwork. And unlucky there for Mike Smith.
There was probably a couple of looks there from the Marconi players. What was Francis doing with that ball? But he saw Mike Smith, and a great shot. Unlucky not to score.
So Sydney United retain their lead, but only just. Ennis now gives the ball away, though. Stanton in there, sweeping well for Marconi. Short to Van Egmond. Suarez into Maloney. Nice turn by Maloney. He's beaten Ennis. And in a forward position now is Christodoulou. In behind the defence was Aratifi. A very, very close call, that one from the linesman.
Too close to call, Mike.
Well, the crowd think Aratifi was onside. He certainly does. The ball was from Christodoulou. From where we sit, Aratifi looked to be onside, but the linesman, of course, is in the best position. Won't really know from that angle.
Very flat back four, Mike. You know, you can get yourself into trouble when you start playing like that.
Well, 3 minutes now into stoppage time at the end of this first half. Sydney United in the lead. Gench now. Wide right is Lamond. Crossing cover is Longo. Chips it towards the back post. The header there by Gench. No power and no danger there for Bob Catlin. Lamond looked up, saw where Atik Gench was, delivered the perfect cross. And the header was directed well enough, but no power and no problems for Catlin.
Manus sometimes, Mike, he's just in that zone. You know, he's got that sixth sense. He knows where his players are supposed to run, and he just pops that ball in there. Manus Lamond at full flight. I've played against him for many years. I've watched him play. He is one exciting player. A guy that I would pay any time to play.
Well, Marconi whistled by their own supporters. They don't want the ball played across the back line. They want it into the danger zone. A goal here would be a perfect response from Marconi just before the halftime break. They continue to work possession through that right side, but the cross, a poor one there by Van Egmond. So, the 5th minute of stoppage time from referee Diomas. Jelena wants to get his team in there to talk them through the second half. He won't want to give away a goal at this late stage. The referee again looks at his watch. There's the whistle in his mouth. And there is, in fact, the half-time whistle from the referee, Con Diomas. So 45 fairly eventful minutes here at Marconi Stadium. Marconi certainly the better team in the opening passages, going close on a number of occasions. Some excellent goalkeeping by John Perosh in the Sydney United goals. And on the break and against the run of play, it's the Crows who went ahead through their midfield player, Paul Bolokovic. Brute strength, really, forced his way into the penalty area, and a lovely finish there, low and hard past the goalkeeper, Bob Catlin. So a good strike for Bolokovic, only his 2nd goal in the Ericsson Cup, and it gives his team the advantage at the break. Marconi with plenty of food for thought as they go into the dressing room. There is the halftime scoreline here at Bossley Park. It is Sydney United 1, Marconi-Fairfield 0. We'll now go down to the sideline where we have Robert Wheatley.
Yes, thanks, Michael. And the hoodoo continues for Marconi here at Marconi Stadium. Sydney United still have the wood on them, and it's a record that's gone on for several years. And at this stage, it looks like it may even continue well into the second half, despite some domination by Marconi. And Bertie Mariani, 7 corners to 0 with the statistics, and I know you're a statistically minded person, and it's a suggestion really, despite a brief spell, Sydney United came back in the game, Marconi creating more chances.
They had a lot of pressure there in the first 10-15 minutes, Rob. Those 7 corners, I think, probably all came in that period. But to the credit of Sydney United team, they just held in. They played very, very solidly, kept the pace with the players, and in the end, the midfield just dominated. Bolokovic and Atek Genç just powering through and providing that support and penetration from the midfield.
All right, Bertie, we expected this to be a fairly physical clash, and we talked about the Sydney United defence and the Marconi attack. That's certainly been a talking piece.
It has been a very good battle to see Harper, Awaratifi, Babic and Popovic and Kuprashak. Those players have been having an outstanding battle, and it's just every time they get the ball, forwards get the ball, Harper, Awaratifi, there's always one of their trailers with them, and they're always battling, and when they tackle fairly hard.
Well, the run, Harper and Waratifi, we mentioned, Steve, they have been prominent. Smith has been there also, but Harper and Waratifi also involved in a couple of incidents off the ball, but certainly their skill has got them into some good goal-scoring opportunities.
Oh, there's been some great clashes between the more powerful clashes, the big tough stoppers and the big tough old-fashioned strikers. The highlight of the game for me, though, has been a difference in style between the athletic Bolokovic, almost a player of the future, and the old-fashioned Eric Christodoulou. I look across here now, there's Bolokovic. To me, he's like the modern European footballer. Used power and athleticism, and he's drilled it past Catlin, bottom corner. I mean, he's been to Hadjog Split, the young lad. He got signed by them. He's a good player. He chose to come home. I think we'll lose him again in a couple of years, sadly, because he's a great asset. But to me, it's a great contrast between him and Christodoulou. Eric's the old-style player, brilliant vision, great passer of a ball, but not the great athlete. This boy is a great athlete, and I think eventually athleticism will dominate.
Well, Bolokovic did feature in that goal, obviously, Steve, but he was certainly a lifeline for United on the left. They have been they're very quiet to start, and only until they got into the game did they certainly, make some chances with Atek Genç on this side. So where to in the second half for United? A continuation of using these 2 players?
Well, I think they did start very badly. I think the key now, is, and we'll look again, it's a long ball here from Ennis. And that could have been a disaster for Bobby Catlin. He used his feet very well. I mean, if he'd made the wrong decision there, and I'm sure Tony Pisano will agree later, if you make that wrong decision and he'd come to get the ball a little bit too early, that could have been bobbling over his head. But good footwork by Bobby, and he's come out and held it well. But as we're going back to what we were talking about before, to me the key now is Marconi have got to do something more down the right-hand side. Here's Mike Smith coming through. He's done well down the left-hand side. But the key for me is that he's got to get more down the right-hand side. Souris is a great defender. He's not great going forward. Van Egmond has got to do more to get beyond Souris, really. And Smith, as we've seen, has done well.
Yeah, well, at this stage, that brief period of influence for Sydney United was highlighted by that great goal, Bertie. Finish, comment on that for us.
That's a class finish. I mean, the angle of the player that he was at, he's just looked up and slotted. He's probably had about 6 inches on either side to put it back. Magnificent finish from such a young kid. But he's their lifeline, as Steve was saying. He's got more and more into the game as the game's gone on. His penetration is, he just strides past people. I mean, he takes a stride and JP takes 3. So, and that goal was an example. JP was ready there with his foot, laying the ball out, and all of a sudden this big long stride just come in and slotted it away.
Well, other chances there for Marconi. Crosses coming in. Perosh has been involved in the game pretty heavily, and he's done his side proud tonight as well.
Oh, this is a great finish from Harper too. The ball's gone up in the air. You couldn't see it. He's come down. He's volleyed it magnificently, and it's just stuck. Perosh has positioned himself perfectly, and it's stuck. It's one of those things, but good positioning, and the thing was he was able to get up and react quickly enough to pick up the ball. Great save.
All right, now we're talking about Bolokovic on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, Aitek Genç, the ball runner. He's got to be more prominent, but is he a key in the second half for United?
I think that right side is. There's Drilic and Aitek Genç, and Genç's playing a little bit more inside, and Drilic is being a little bit more defensive, holding the space, and it's only since Aitek's got into that space that they looked dangerous. Here's another great chance from Mike Smith, late in the half. He's picked it up on the back post and just scooted off the outside of his foot and just clipped the post. That would have been a turning point. 1-1 at half-time, goal in that extra time.
Yeah, the chances did come in a flurry near the end of that first 45 minutes, and that from Mike Smith, classic left foot he's got.
Oh, and so controlled. I mean, it came at him at an organ angle, and he was able to just clip it on the outside of the foot, and just not enough, just clip the outside of the bar. But as I said, if that had gone in 1-1 at half-time, Sydney United would have found it very, very tough to come back out in the second half. But as they are, they're going in 1-0 and looking very, very confident.
Well, that's right, Bertie Mariani. They do go into this half-time break as 1-0 leaders, and former Sydney United coach Manfred Schaefer will be certainly revving up his Marconi boys. A lot to look forward to in the second half. We'll be back very shortly.
And welcome back to Marconi Stadium in Bossley Park. It's half-time in this round Ericsson Cup, this round 10 Ericsson Cup match between Marconi-Fairfield and their local rivals Sydney United. It is the visitors, Sydney United, in front. The goal scorer, Paul Bilokovic, after 24 minutes. And as we look out there across that scene, Tony Bazzano, isn't it great to see such a big crowd in here at this Marconi Stadium? And I did have a word to the soccer chairman, Frank Baroni, before the telecast, and he was a little bit upset that a few things have been said about poor crowds here at Marconi Stadium, but the fans have answered that criticism in the best possible style.
Let me tell you, Mike, as I said earlier on, this is probably the biggest crowd that I've seen here for a good number of years. But, Mike, I can't understand why people wouldn't want to come here. Amongst players, this place, you call it Marconi Oval, we call it the Palace. And it is, it really is. It's a wonderful playing pitch, wonderful stands, viewing area for the paying spectators, facilities and what have you, and a great functioning club. And I can't understand why people wouldn't want to come here. A good entertaining team, you know, it's everything here. But a pleasing point is that a few activities before the game, and that helps. Being a local derby also helps. But
well, the crowds this season have averaged 3,600, and really for a club of Marconi's standing, that's not satisfactory. They'd really want to be looking at crowds a little bit better than that.
Probably so. I would say, you know, every club in the league would love to average, you know, over 6,000 people. But, you know, there's not much more you can do here. You know, you've given the paying spectator every possibility to watch a good game. There's a quality team out there full of internationals, full of young players, and a team that like to press that green button and go forward. You know, I don't know why they sometimes do stay away, but hopefully, and the way the trend is so far this season, Mike, the people are coming out, and no doubt they'll come out here.
Well, Marconi will be wanting to repay the faith shown by their supporters tonight. It is a big crowd. At the moment, it's the visiting team, though, Sydney United in front, as we see both teams come out of the tunnel onto the pitch for this second half. Branko Chelina, the Sydney United coach, will have been satisfied with the way his team recovered from a fairly hesitant opening 15 to 20 minutes. His counterpart, Manfred Schaefer, will certainly have asked his team to lift themselves a little bit more. Marconi unable to find their way past John Perosh, the Sydney United goalkeeper. He has really had an outstanding first half, but the signs were there in the last few minutes of that first half that Marconi were starting to penetrate again. Let's see if they can get themselves back on equal terms. The referee now about to get the second half underway. It's Marconi now kicking towards the northern end of the ground, perhaps marginally into this wind here. There is a wind coming from perhaps the southeast, is it? I'm not 100% sure. It's quite a cold one, whatever it is.
I'm from the northern beaches now, Mike, so get me out of there. I couldn't tell where the breeze blows from.
So Marconi get the second half underway. No changes to either side during the break. Bob Catlin now with possession. The long kick over the halfway line. El Retifi gets the nod on. No one there though for Marconi. Lamont wants the throw. He gets there in front of Longo, but unable to control the ball. Must be said, really, that Dominic Longo has had the better of his duel with Lamont tonight.
Interesting matchup that, Mike. I know Gary Van Egmond for the past five years since he's come back from Rhoda, I think, has had to mark Manus, and unfortunately for him, it's not been the most pleasant of nights. So they've obviously gone for a switch, and Longo's a class act. He's doing a good job.
There's Gench now. Nice ball into the feet of Lamont by Kuprashak, but in there quickly was John Paul Di Marini. So a good man-to-man battles going on out there. Kuprashak and El Ratifi, Babic and Harper. At the other end of the field, it's Longo against Lamond and Van Egmond against Milicic. So the game's within a game. And Gench now will get booked. The third name into the referee's notebook, Atek Gench, for time wasting. We saw that in the first half. Robert Ennis, the culprit on that occasion. This time his midfield counterpart, Atek Gench. He's frustrated with himself, Atek Gench. He thinks there was a breakdown in communications. I think he believes he was actually trying to get the ball back on the spot. The referee saw it differently and he's copped the yellow card.
Welcome back to Australian football. Referee's right there, Mike. You know, he's got to insist on it. He did it in the first half of the same offence, and, you know, he's done nothing wrong again.
El Ratifi. And challenged by Kuprashak. The cross comes in now by Di Marini, but mishit there. Christodoulou urging his Marconi team on. Eric Christodoulou back in the side tonight after missing 3 weeks on the bench. Surprisingly for him, used to being a first-team regular, Eric Christodoulou had to fight his way back into this Marconi team, helped of course by the injury to Matthew Bingley. He's out of the Marconi side tonight, Matthew Bingley, and in to get his chances, Eric Christodoulou. Well, a number of fixtures going on around the country tonight in the Ericsson Cup. And one of them in Adelaide has the league leaders up against West Adelaide, and it's West Adelaide in front. Pablo Cardozo, the scorer, in the 12th minute. So the Sharks leading UTS Olympic 1-0 at Hindmarsh Stadium. Meanwhile, out here at Bossley Park, it's Sydney United in front of Marconi. Goal scorer Bilokovic. Here comes Kuprashak. Moric leaves it to Milicic. There are players on that right side. He goes on a run instead. Ante Milicic still with Milicic. And in the end, he squared it straight to a blue shirt. There's the run from Lamond. I thought he'd stayed onside. The flag is up though against Manus Lamond. A fraction in it. So Lamond, certainly by his own admission, not fully match fit. Manus Lamond, he was in Malaysia on loan to Negri Sembilan for 10 weeks, and he had about 4 weeks between seasons, so not 100% match fit Manus Lamond. There was speculation, in fact, that he would be swapped in a deal which would bring Marko Perinovic, the Canberra Cosmos captain, to Sydney United. That speculation fell flat, and Manus Lamond is now in the team, trying to prove to his coach Branko Cellina that he has a future with the club. And nice ball by Arativi into space is Andrew Harper. It might break to Soros. A second save by Perosh, and a third one. This man is having an unbelievable evening, John Perosh. The hero of the hour, certainly. He denied Harper, he denied Soros, and he denied Arativi all in the space of a few seconds. Andrew Harper fed by Arativi, blocked by Perosh. The second shot comes in, again blocked by Perosh. And at the third attempt at the feet of Aratifi, credit where it's due. What a night this man is having.
Super goalkeeping here. Watch Andy Harper. He's picked it. Great save down low. That's one of the hardest saves close to your body. Again down. And this one here, I wouldn't have gone anywhere near Francis's boot in that situation. Fantastic save by the goalkeeper. Excellent goalkeeping all night.
Well, John Perosh certainly wanting to show his coach, Branko Cellina, that he is worthy of the #1 jersey. There was speculation that Sydney United would sign John Crawley this coming week, the former Colo-Colo goalkeeper. And of course, Perosh would have been aware of that speculation. He knows he's playing for his future. Very big shoes to fill. Zelko Kalac, the Socceroo goalkeeper, was the man in possession of that shirt for the last 3 to 4 seasons. And a very difficult act to follow for John Perosh, but tonight certainly he has risen to the occasion. Free kick at the other end of the pitch by United. Gench looking to feed Enish. And a free kick there against Enish. Foul on Maloney. Frustration for Marconi. Really, Andrew Harper would have fancied his chances in that situation. A nice through ball by Aratifi. And he picked his spot low to the goalkeeper's right, but the goalkeeper spread himself and made the save. Well, we keep getting updates from Hindmarsh Stadium. An upset on the cards down there. Cardozo again finding the net after 18 minutes. So 2 goals within 6 minutes by Pablo Cardozo against his old club. So it's the league leaders, UTS Olympic, down 2-0 against West Adelaide. And if Marconi can get a result here, they may find themselves on top of the Ericsson Cup tomorrow morning. It's United, though, pushing forward. Gench with the shot low and hard. Equal to the task was Bob Catlin in the Marconi goal. Really, for the first time tonight, Aitek Gench having a strike on target. Well watched by Catlin. This game evenly poised, and a real challenge off the ball there between Babic and Mike Smith. Babic down, holding his right knee. The crowd whistling. The referee was close enough to see what happened. He's waved play on, and it's Aratifi now who's dispossessed Lamont. Lamont has to get back and cover. Aratifi striding out from Marconi. And in the end, the cover came from Kuprashak. He kicks it into the stand, so that will give time for Mark Babic to receive attention. A note of controversy there. Babic in a little bit of pain. The right knee might be the problem. And the referee wants the players to get away. He's called Mike Smith out. As I said, he was close to the incident, Condiomis. He knows who was involved. He did what a good referee should do, and that's let the advantage be played and then worry about the incident. You can see there a clattering challenge on Babic by Mike Smith. The referee, of course, does not have the benefit of that replay, but I feel
didn't look, it was
Mike Smith.
I don't know if it was a foul, Mike. It was both of the lads both pulled out, and a little bit awkward. Probably Smitty got him with his, they probably collided more with the knees and with the boots.
So Mark Babic in some distress. He goes off the pitch to receive extra attention. Well, he's up and walking now, Mark Babic, so he'll be able to come back on any minute for Sydney United. And you can see here Smith in there against Babic. A spectacular fall there by Mark Babic. He certainly was hurt, but you may be right, Tony Pisano. No real malice in there from Mike Smith. Clumsy, if anything. And Babic, thankfully, is back on the field of play. Throw in by Van Egmond, short to Harper. Well watched by Babic. And Mark Babic still feeling the effects of that challenge. The throw in now finds Van Egmond. He gets into the box. The tackle made by Popovic. Still Marconi in possession. Nice skills there by John Paul Di Marini to make space. Rissadulu now. But Kuprashak has really marked Aratifi closely tonight. Hasn't given him an inch. This time Sydney United can break upfield with Lamont. Throw in instead to Marconi. And in the end, just too many Sydney United players there, really. Marconi have the ball. Back through Maloney. He's given it away, though, straight to Kuprashak. Lovely interchange there between Ennis and Gensch. Look at that close skill there and good vision. Gensch is now up that right side of the pitch. Not a bad cross. Good defence from Dominic Longo. Just the give and go between Gensch and Ennis there. Tony Bazzano, excellent stuff.
A couple of great ball players in that United midfield. Gensch, Morich here on the left, and obviously Ennis, which I'm a big fan of. But you can just feel that they're getting on top. They're getting a bit more room in midfield. They're starting to orchestra what they want to happen. They've got the movement up front. The Marconi team in midfield especially are just lacking a few ideas right now, Mike.
And here come Marconi trying to break down that left side through Smith. Cover again by Kuprashak. And we can bring you an update from another game being played tonight down in the Latrobe Valley. It's Adelaide City 2, Morwell Falcons 0. Adelaide City, of course, a quite amazing result midweek, 7-0 against the Brisbane Strikers. And continuing that form tonight against a very good Morwell team, 2-0. Here comes Milicic trying to battle into the box. In there as well is Bolokovic. A brave challenge by Brad Maloney. Bolokovic already on the target tonight for Sydney United. They've really lifted a gear, the Crows. Smith there heads it down to Harper.
If anything, Mike, sometimes Ante Milicic, when he gets in those situations, he really just doesn't use his speed. He wants to sort of stop, prop up with the ball, and then take on the player again. We all know he's got huge 10 yards on him. And in that situation there where he had the two Marconi players within a dime of him, he should have just used that speed to go round them and finish off. Sometimes he just lacks that finishing, that killer.
His nickname, of course, is Speedy, so he knows he's got the pace. He's been able to use it on many occasions. But well tackled again there was Milicic by Van Egmond. Suris checking back is Bolokovic. The ball square into Christodoulou. Harper. Nice layoff by Harper. Finds Di Marini. The cross too far in front of his strikers. And Perosh accepts the ball. Van Egmond in the back of Milicic. Free kick to Sydney United. Marconi about to make their first substitution of the game. Looks like Vlado Zoric about to come onto the field. Zoric, of course, bought from the Super League club Canterbury Miracle for $14,000. Has been used twice so far as a substitute. About to get his third game of the season tonight. Vlado Zoric. And as we wait for this throw-in to be taken, we can see the substitution about to be made. The player to come off will be Paul Suris, so a midfielder for a midfielder. Off comes Paul Suris. On comes the number 23, Vlado Zoric. Well, a bit of confusion there as they wait to make the substitution. Suris was about to go off the pitch. Instead, he gets the ball at his feet. And he gets the return as well, Paul Suris. That may be a spectacular reprieve for him. The free kick appealed by the Marconi players, ignored by the referee. So this time, Paul Suris will go off the field to be replaced by Vlado Zoric.
Amazing had he been on a merry run and scored a goal there, Mike. That's one for the book. But a good move here. Zoric has to come on. As I was saying a little earlier, the Marconi midfield a little bit sort of static, trying to play the super ball through the middle. They've stopped going out through the flanks, and that is a big mistake because when they were going wide with Smithy, Mike Smith, they were getting plenty of gas. Mike Smith now hasn't been doing much, and the Marconi ball's just going through the middle. The United defence are far too big and strong, especially in the centre, for anything to happen there.
So Zoric into the middle of that midfield. Paul Suris taking a breather, as always, has given 100% tonight, Paul Siris. And Zoric, really a creative player. You've seen him many times in the Super League, Tony Pisano. His ability is certainly with the ball. So Zoric in for Marconi, and Sydney United now about to make their first substitution. Babbage, perhaps feeling the effects of that challenge from Mike Smith, is replaced by Mark Rudin. A straight swap positionally as well. Rudin, a central defender, so he will go on to Andrew Harper. So 2 substitutions within the space of a minute. It's still Sydney United, though, with the statistic that really matters. That is the goal, the only goal of the game. They may get a second chance here. Moritz has stolen it from Maloney. In short to Lamont, he's missed it. It'll have to be a goal. How did Milicic miss that? He may get a second chance. The cross by Moritz. This time Catlin claims the ball well. A real let-off there for Marconi. It should have been 2-0 to Sydney United. We'll stay with the action. Marconi breakthrough Rissadulu. Plenty of movement off the ball. And still battling away with the Sydney United players. Zoric now against Rudin. That is a free kick. So the crowd comes alive. And a player is down for Sydney United. It's Robert Inish. Gets up to his feet. But you can see here what an opportunity this was for Sydney United. Maloney stood on the ball. The provider was Morris. The dummy, or whatever it was, came, and there was Milicic unmarked at the back post. Really, that should have been goal number 2 for Sydney United.
Super football. Look at this dummy by Manus Lamont. Let's say he's alert. He's more than alert. He's a genius. But Speedy certainly should have put that away and buried it. But this is pretty well end-to-end stuff. This is a good game here tonight, Mike. And United are on the go. They want more.
Well, the second chance not provided this time by Morris. Catlin made the save, so Marconi lived to fight another day. Sydney United still in front, though, as we approach the 65th minute mark of the game. And here's Milicic now trying to redeem himself. The cross coming in towards Gens. The header away by Longo. Offside, though, was Lamond. And more news from Hindmarsh Stadium. Well, it's turning into a real boil over down there. Aloisi has scored for West Adelaide, so 3-0 to the Sharks over UTS Olympic. I know that's a scoreline that won't please our sideline eye, Steve Darby. Of course, Steve, the assistant coach at Olympic. And it's all come crashing down tonight. 3-0 to West Adelaide. Really just goes to show you, Tony Pisano, that the decision by Soccer Australia to reduce the size of the competition from 14 to 12 teams has really evened things up, and anybody can really beat anybody. We've seen it already in a number of results this season, and that result down in Adelaide tonight certainly confirms it.
Mike, teams now have more than just 10 first-grade players. It's a little bit like when the NSL first started. There are, you know, most squads now have 16 good quality players, and that's the way it should be. That's what we're all after. We're after good quality football and a squad that boasts that. And I bet you there's a huge crowd down there too.
Well, West Adelaide, in fact, switching that game to Saturday night to test their market because they haven't been satisfied with their attendances this season. They've switched their game to Saturday night. Certainly the result going their way. Good crowd in here as well at Bossley Park. Close to a full house. But the result not going the way of Marconi. There's a handball from El Ratifi. And a deliberate handball there from Francis, so quite lucky really not to receive a card for that.
Good
referee. The letter of the law would be a yellow card, but
the law's there to be broken. Good refereeing by Kondiamas. You know, like there was nothing on.
Free kick to the Sydney United captain Tony Popovich. Perosh gets the back pass, and the clearance goes well over the halfway line, headed down by Stanton. Here comes Zoric now, switches it to the left continues his run, Vlado Zoric. He wants the return from Smith. He gets it finally. Turns well, Vlado Zoric. He was tripped there by Enish, so a free kick to Zoric. He has good skills for a big man, Vlado Zoric. It's taken him a long, long time to get into the Ericsson Cup. He's 25 years of age. He's been touted as a recruit for a number of seasons. He's had trials at Olympic. He's had trials at Parramatta Eagles.
Wollongong.
And Wollongong City, and it's only now that he finally makes his way into the top level. And let's see if he really is the player that a lot of keen judges believe he is.
I honestly feel, Mike, that the way football's played today, in the last, say, 2 years, it will suit him more. Gone are pretty well the mega physical tussles, and a lot more ball playing is happening. And he's certainly a ball player.
Marconi want to get back into this game. Smith now wide on the left, turns outside again. And the cover came from Popovic. It's a corner though to Marconi. Mike Smith has been replaced in every appearance this season. He's desperate to stay on the field for the full 90 minutes tonight. Those sort of runs will do his cause plenty of good. It's a corner to Marconi. Maloney with the in-swinger. Perosh fists it well. Cleaned up by Christodoulou. Again, the cross comes in from Maloney. The header this time by Kuprashak. Zoric against Bilokovic. Patient build-up here by Marconi. A firm tackle by Moric. And they can break now, Sydney United. It's 3 against 4. And Ennis goes through the diagonal run by Lamont. Will he get there in front of Catlin? He does, Manus Lamont. And still with Lamont maybe. In the end, it's hacked away by Robert Stanton. And he screams at that linesman. Certainly, it looked to be an offside situation for Lamont. The flag stayed down. He beat one player, beat two. Almost got in there for a shot on target. The cover came across by Stanton.
Never offside. One or two of the Marconi players are looking at the linesman in disgust, but never offside. It was a great ball by Robert Ennis. He had all the game in front of him, and he spotted Manus Lamont making the diagonal run. Perfect pass. Unfortunately for Manus, too much of a shimmy and a chamois and a late night dance on that one, and it didn't work for him. Great play.
Yeah, Lamont would desperately have liked to have got himself on the score sheet tonight, of course, getting his chance because of the suspension of Sean Babic. This time it's Milicic with the corner. The back post there is David Zrilic out of harm's way, and a goal kick to Marconi. Interesting, Tony Bazzano, to see a striker take corners. Most strikers have no desire whatsoever to take a corner. They want to be there in the goal mouth to get themselves a chance of a goal, but Milicic, we've seen him in recent weeks take a few corners for Sydney United, and it's a very unusual situation.
I think, Mike, when you've got so many giants in your team, and that's all the lads in the back line pushing forward, there's no room for a striker, and possibly the other lads fancy their chances more. Speedy in front of goal, you know.
Longo cleans up for Marconi. The ball is switched to Van Egmond. Plays in the box, but the cross too deep by Gary Van Egmond. The service has really dried up for Arotifi and Harper in the last 15 minutes or so. Apart from that interchange between the two, which almost presented Harper with a goal, really Marconi's distribution out of midfield hasn't been precise enough. And Arotifi checked his run. He was onside according to the linesman. Into the box, Arotifi. In there against the keeper. Perosh brave, cleared by Mark Rudin. Marconi just can't get it in the net. Perosh is groggy. He can't stand up. A shuddering challenge there with Arotifi. The goalkeeper doesn't know where he is. Still with Marconi. No goalkeeper there for Sydney United. And drama here at Bossley Park. He's a sick and sorry sight, John Perosh. There's blood coming from his head. Well, I hope he's all right. It's a terrible wound, is it, for John Perosh? You can see the blood all over his face. He doesn't know where he is. He needs to get attention very quickly. And the referee will have to hold up play. The player in there for Marconi was Francis Aratifi, the Sydney United players, very angry. They believe there was a foul committed at the very least on their goalkeeper. Nobody likes to see that sort of sight. He's in real trouble, Francis Aratifi, and now the players are starting to get involved. Well, plenty of feeling in these local derbies. It's starting to get out of hand. And Popovic and Aratifi exchanging words. Stephen Watson, the Sydney United goalkeeping coach, in there separating them. You can see the ball breaking for Marconi. Well, looking at that replay, Francis was entitled to go for that ball. And it was brave goalkeeping by Perosh, and full credit to him. But on that first replay, it seemed to me that Aratifi was entitled to slide in. The ball dropped for him. His control really let him down. And he slid in there for the shot. And really, Tony Bazzano, he was entitled to go for that.
Well, obviously brave goalkeeping by Perosh, and I really do hope that he's okay. But it did look like a 50-50. I think there was even 3 players. There was a United player in there. Certainly Francis was entitled to it. He will never pull out of a situation, and nor should a good striker pull out. And we'll have a look at it here, but you can see 3 guys basically making... Francis actually got to the ball first.
Well, in fact, it might have even been Kuprashak who got Perosh there. We can't really see from that angle. Certainly the goalkeeper in all sorts of trouble, and Sydney United in all sorts of trouble because they don't have a goalkeeper on the bench. They do not have a reserve goalkeeper on their list. Branko Chelina now. The Sydney United coach has gone out of the field and the players getting involved. Well, this really is a dramatic situation here. I don't know why the coach is out there for Sydney United. He shouldn't be anywhere near that situation, Branko Chelina. And the goalkeeper is receiving attention. Players from both teams getting involved. Branko Chelina also out there having a word. Manfred Schaefer, in fact, the Marconi coach, coming to settle things down. Well, temperatures running very, very high here at Bossley Park. Dramatic scenes. Really is incredible, and it all stems from this incident here between Aratifi and the goalkeeper, Perosh. It may have, in fact, been Kuprashak who caught his own goalkeeper.
I don't know, Mike, but from where I can see here, Francis actually got the ball first. And possibly the momentum, they all slid in, but Francis definitely got the ball first. Let's have a look at it. The other angle, there you go, he's got the ball now.
There's the studs up as well from Kuprashak. I feel, in fact, it was Kuprashak who got his own goalkeeper there.
I don't know, but the goalkeeper's going to try and play on, and good luck to him.
Well,
he's had a wonderful game.
He's had a fantastic game, John Perosh, and plenty of courage in going for this ball. And again, we see it, and again, if we slow it down there, well, it's still difficult to tell. You'd have to look at that replay 100 times to work out who actually caught the goalkeeper in the head. But he's unfairly maligned in this situation, Aratifi. He was entitled to go for the ball. He did so, and all of a sudden, it just developed into a very, very unsavoury situation. All sorts of people on the pitch getting involved, the players starting to push and shove each other. The coach for Sydney United, Branko Chelina, on there. And let's see if we can finally settle this situation down, because nobody likes to see players lose control like this, and especially with a capacity crowd, and we don't want anything happening in that respect as well. It needs a few cool heads to calm things down. Perhaps you and I should get out there, Tony Bazzano. But in all fairness,
for the sake of the game, Mike, I just hope nothing happens. Well, if Manfred Schaefer, I think, should be wise to take Francis off, just for safety.
Well,
not because it's
there has, in fact, been no card from the referee, so the corner comes across by Marconi, cleared again by Sydney United defence. Another corner to Marconi, so that stoppage took at least 5 minutes there, 5 to 6 minutes. And the corner again from Marconi. This time up there was Kuprashak. He did well to head it away. It drops to Hristodoulou. Zoric. Stanton tries to beat the offside trap. The flag has stayed down. And here comes a chance for Marconi to equalise. Aratifi misses an open goal. Well, there is the irony of ironies. He's been involved in everything for Marconi, and The cross came in from Maloney, and the shot by Smith dropped towards Aratifi. He took his shot, and it went over the crossbar. Well, Francis Aratifi almost put Marconi on level terms there. He has a smile to himself, and in the meantime, a substitution has been made. So it's non-stop action here. The player to go off is the Marconi skipper, John Paul DeMarini.
Mike! Surprising move that, Mike, for me, really. You know, I know JP hasn't had the most creative of halves, but the ball hasn't really come along that left-hand side. He has gone chasing it, but it just hasn't happened for him. I would have honestly thought that Francis, just for the safety side of things, would have been possibly substituted, because you don't know how a couple of centre-halves and a couple of strikers might react to this situation. We don't want anything stupid.
Well, the Marconi captain certainly didn't look too thrilled about being substituted. As well he might not be, and Renault is the man on for Marconi, so dramatic stuff here at Bossley Park. And we might remind everyone of the scoreline. It's still Sydney United in front 1-0. But competitive. As always, extra competitive tonight. There has been a few dramatic moments in the last 10 minutes or so. Finally, the game can settle down. Aratifi against Kuprashak. It drops towards Renault, the substitute. He has his shot. Well, he's found the net, Brendan Renault. He's only been on the field for less than a minute, Brendan Renault. And with that right foot, he has steered it past John Perosh in the Sydney United goals. So Marconi on level terms. The goal came in the 78th minute. And all of a sudden, Marconi have a sniff of a victory. You talked about the substitution, Tony. Well, Manfred Shafer's going to claim he is a genius. This man has been on the pitch for less than a minute. Here's the cross from Van Egmond. Aratifi up against Kuprashak. It drops towards Renault, and with a right foot, he steered it past the goalkeeper's near post. And Marconi won, Sydney United won.
I am a huge fan of Brendan Renault, not because he scored that goal, but he is a clever player. But Manfred certainly has slightly under the goalkeeper there. Not really his fault. He's a lot of people have been in front of him. He's just come off a bad knock, a terribly bad knock. But, well, the Marconi coach has made me look like a fool.
Well,
and I'll
I might remind you of that too after the game, Tony Bazzano. In the meantime, Branko Cellino makes another change for Sydney United. And on comes Richard Plesher. Now, I didn't just catch who the player taken off there was, but we'll stay with the action. Throw in for Marconi. So the game's on a knife edge. It's Marconi 1, Sydney United 1. 10 minutes remaining in regulation time.
Lamond off, Mike.
Okay, so Manus Lamond, the player, off for Sydney United. So a striker off for a defender.
Zrilic will pop up front with Milicic.
And here comes the corner now by Maloney. In towards the danger zone. The header there by Harper. Wide of the mark. So you're right there. David Zrilic goes up to join Ante Milicic in attack. And Richard Plesher goes onto the right side of that defence. 1-1 between Marconi and Sydney United. And there'll be at least 7 or 8 minutes of stoppage time. There was a long break in play while John Perosh received attention. The Sydney United goalkeeper with bandages on his head. And courageous stuff from John Perosh, because he was very, very groggy after that clash with Kuprashak and Aratifi, and he's received attention. He's had a bad cut to the head and the nose, and he's now conceded a goal. Certainly a dramatic game in his career. Can Sydney United claw their way back? It's Marconi with the momentum all of a sudden. Kuprashak into the back of Aratifi. Fair, says the referee. Now there's a nice switch played by Popovic. He's found Moric. Cover provided by Maloney. A real unsung hero tonight, Brad Maloney. He's worked very, very hard in defence for Marconi. His positioning has really been the key. He's been the midfielder who's been prepared to just sit in and play deep and sit in front of his defence and clean up. He's won a lot of important ball for his team. Given away there by Smith. Ennish now to Zrilic against Catlin. Catlin out quickly for Marconi. The crowd getting their money's worth here tonight, and what a big crowd it is. Well, a mix-up there between the Sydney United defence, the header on by Aratifi. Harper was offside according to the linesman. Well, a close call again against Andrew Harper. The head on by Aratifi, Harper in on the ball. In the end, he didn't score. Good save by Perosh. And Aratifi puts it into an empty net. It won't count, though. The flag was up.
I don't know where the markers were for United in this situation. Kuprashak was with his bloke, but where was Harper's marker?
Well, there he is now, right close to his man, Mark Rudin. The free kick this time goes the way of Aratifi. Certainly no doubt about that one.
You've got to play the ball into feet now, not into the air, into feet, into the penalty area. That's where the danger is.
Well, Hrissadulu looking for the players at the back post. And this time it's a goal kick to Sydney United, so a wasted free kick there for Marconi. John Perosh in the wars. What a game he's had tonight. And it'd be interesting if we could show those Sydney United players a video, and if they realise it was in fact their own player that cut their goalkeeper, they'd probably be a little less unhappy with Francis Aratifi. This time the ball played by Harper, looking for Aratifi. Popovic in bravely for Sydney United, and he's bursting forward now, the Sydney United captain. Wide left is Moric, overlapping. But the tackle there from Zoric, well, that was a clear free kick right in front of the referee. I don't know how he didn't see it. And Moric will get a second chance. He slips at the crucial moment. Ante Moric still in the field of play. And Ante Moric has battled his way through. He's got the cross in towards the back post. It eludes the goalkeeper. The header down by Gench. Again with Gench. Well, desperate defence by Marconi. This game has opened up. It's turning into a real dramatic tussle here. The crowd on the edge of their seats. Milokovic with the cross. Arriving late at the back post was Ennish. The header out by Longo. Still with Sydney United. Away from Stanton. And in there again was Dominic Longo. So a little bit of relief for Marconi. The pendulum has really swung in this game. First Marconi, then Sydney United, and then Marconi again. And in fact, Sydney United were really having the better of play until we saw that incident involving the goalkeeper and Kuprashak and Aratifi, and then the substitute Renault came on and scored. So it really has been.
It has been a great game. It has been a great game, Mike. There's no question about it. And even now, with about 10 minutes to go, both teams want to still attack and go for the winner. That's what it's all about.
Well, we saw our cameraman Peter Bully. He was close to that action involving Aratifi and the goalkeeper. We got plenty of angles on the incident, and even with all those opportunities to see a replay, it's still really unclear whether it was Kuprashak or Aratifi who hurt the goalkeeper. But what was clear was that Aratifi was entitled to go for that ball, and that really is the key point.
of a substitution here, Mike, by the looks of it. Histradulu's had enough of the evening. And Luke Castley.
So a defender for Marconi, Luke Castley.
A defender that will go forward with pace, and that's something which Luke has a lot of, and that's pace, and he won't be shy in getting forward. This is what they want now, Marconi. Use the flanks, have the front men making a little bit of a space for themselves, and just pop it into their feet.
Well, the first game of the season for Luke Castley. He was injured. There's the shot by Renault, almost a second goal from the substitute, still in that penalty area, and Sydney United hack it away, but Brendan Renault has been on the field for less than 10 minutes. He's found the score sheet, almost a second one there from the substitute. A fierce volley, the dropping ball taken early by Renault, was going in, blocked by Perosh, and bodies back there for Sydney United.
Well, if this is any indication of what a total knee reconstruction does to you, Mike, I want one.
Well, Aratifi's got past Kuprashak, and diving in there was Popovich. The foul signalled by the linesman, in fact, and the Sydney United captain gets into the book. Popovich in on Aratifi, and really that was a wild tackle by Tony Popovich. And he can't complain about that one. He's very fired up, Tony Popovich. A real intensity about this game now.
Play the hot hand. Play Francis to his feet. That's where the hotness is coming.
So the crowd now starting to get behind Marconi. Free kick from Maloney. The header by Harper. At the back post there was Mike Smith, was it, or Longo? It was Dominic Longo, in fact, lurking at the back post for Marconi. The free kick came in. Not really cleared properly by Sydney United. And a volley well wide by Longo, but again, Perosh in there. Bravely for Sydney United. In fact, I said Luke Castley hadn't played this season. He in fact played the first game of the season, Luke Castley, before getting injured. And it's been a long time out of the side for Luke Castley, getting his chance in these final moments. We are now on 90 minutes, but there will be plenty of stoppages. Aratifi. And he's drawn the foul again, Francis Aratifi, so starting to get some decisions in his favour. Free kick quickly taken. Drops for Zorich, in fact, wide is Aratifi. And too much pressure there from Morich. Francis Aratifi, a new signing for Marconi, bought from South Melbourne. He's played for 3 Ericsson Cup clubs. He came to Australia in 1989 and joined Melbourne Knights. He then switched to South Melbourne, and now with his 3rd club, Marconi-Fairfield. 178 appearances for 81 goals. So better than a goal every 2 games for Francis Aratifi. And certainly has always been a controversial figure. And this time the foul goes against Aratifi, holding the shirt of Kuprashak. Popovich with the free kick. We're into stoppage time. I'd like to give credit right now to that referee out there, Kondiomis. It's been a very, very tense game in these last 20 minutes or so, and he's refereed impeccably. You've got to say, Tony Bizzano, he's handled the situation superbly well, and there have been some pretty frayed tempers out there. But we'll stay with the action now. Drilic cuts it back to Milicic. The shot by Milicic wide of the mark.
We mentioned, Mike, at half-time that he was having a good game, but he's come out of that little incident about 10 minutes ago in flying colours. He's handled it more than well. It'd be interesting, actually, Mike, to see what happens to Branko Chelina. Being a coach for 20 games, every time I got off the bench, I got fined a couple of $100 by the New South Wales Soccer Federation. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to Branko for coming all the way on the pitch.
Yep, certainly controversy erupting there. Chelina in there and involved in the incident. But the scoreline remains intact. Sydney United 1, Marconi 1. We are into stoppages. Dramatic scenes here at Marconi Stadium. Is there time for a late winner from either side? Here comes Castley, the substitute. Offside, though, was Andrew Harper. Well, depending on other results, a draw may be enough to put Marconi on top of the Ericsson Cup table, only on goal difference, but if other results pan out over the weekend, they may find themselves on top. They certainly deserve credit for the way they battled away tonight. They could have been excused for being very frustrated when things didn't go for them in that opening 20 minutes or so, and then they really copped the goal against the run of play, but they've got themselves back into the game, and the substitute, Renault, found the equaliser in the 78th minute, and there have been chances since then as well. Aratifi almost turning from the villain to the hero in the space of a minute or so. Put a shot over the crossbar. So a lot of character in this Marconi side. We saw it last weekend at Leichhardt Oval when they drew 0-0 against UTS Olympic before a huge crowd there, and we've seen it again tonight.
I think without doubt, Mike, the player of the game here tonight has been the United keeper. He has been by far the busier of the two, and credit to him that it basically kept United into this match all the way.
And it'd be interesting if we could show those Sydney United players a video, and if they realise it was in fact their own player that cut their goalkeeper, they'd probably be a little less unhappy with Francis Aratifi. This time the ball played by Harper, looking for Aratifi. Popovic in bravely for Sydney United, and he's bursting forward now, the Sydney United captain. Wide left is Moric, overlapping. But the tackle there from Zoric, well, that was a clear free kick right in front of the referee. I don't know how he didn't see it. And Moric will get a second chance. He slips at the crucial moment. Ante Moric still in the field of play. And Ante Moric has battled his way through. He's got the cross in towards the back post. It eludes the goalkeeper. The header down by Gench. Again with Gench. Well, desperate defence by Marconi. This game has opened up. It's turning into a real dramatic tussle here. The crowd on the edge of their seats. Bilokovic with the cross. Arriving late at the back post was Enish. The header out by Longo. Still with Sydney United. Away from Stanton. And in there again was Dominic Longo. So a little bit of relief for Marconi. The pendulum has really swung in this game. First Marconi, then Sydney United, and then Marconi again. And in fact, Sydney United were really having the better of play until we saw that incident involving the goalkeeper and Kuprashak and Aratifi, and then the substitute Renault came on and scored. So it really has been.
It has been a great game. It has been a great game, Mike. There's no question about it. And even now, with about 10 minutes to go, both teams want to still attack and go for the winner. That's what it's all about.
Well, we saw our cameraman Peter Bully. He was close to that action involving Aratifi and the goalkeeper. We got plenty of angles on the incident, and even with all those opportunities to see a replay, it's still really unclear whether it was Kuprashak or Aratifi who hurt the goalkeeper. But what was clear was that Aratifi was entitled to go for that ball, and that really is the key point.
Another substitution here, Mike, by the looks of it. Histradulu's had enough of the evening. And Luke Castley.
So a defender for Marconi, Luke Castley.
A defender that will go forward with pace, and that's something which Luke has a lot of, and that's pace, and he won't be shy in getting forward. This is what they want now, Marconi. Use the flanks, have the front men making a little bit of a space for themselves, and just pop it into their feet.
Well, the first game of the season for Luke Castley. He was injured. There's the shot by Renault, almost a second goal from the substitute, still in that penalty area, and Sydney United hack it away, but Brendan Renault has been on the field for less than 10 minutes. He's found the score sheet, almost a second one there from the substitute. A fierce volley, the dropping ball taken early by Renault, was going in, blocked by Perosh, and bodies back there for Sydney United.
Well, if this is any indication of what a total knee reconstruction does to you, Mike, I want one.
Well, Aratifi's got past Kuprashak, and diving in there was Popovich. The foul signalled by the linesman, in fact, and the Sydney United captain gets into the book. Popovich in on Aratifi, and really that was a wild tackle by Tony Popovich, and he can't complain about that one. He's very fired up, Tony Popovich. A real intensity about this game now.
Play the hot hand. Play Francis to his feet. That's where the hotness is coming.
So the crowd now starting to get behind Marconi. Free kick from Maloney. The header by Harper. At the back post there was Mike Smith, was it, or Longo? It was Dominic Longo, in fact, lurking at the back post for Marconi. The free kick came in. Not really cleared properly by Sydney United. And a volley well wide by Longo, but again Perosh in there bravely for Sydney United. In fact, I said Luke Castley hadn't played this season. He in fact played the first game of the season, Luke Castley, before getting injured. And it's been a long time out of the side for Luke Castley, getting his chance in these final moments. We are now on 90 minutes, but there will be plenty of stoppages. Aratifi. And he's drawn the foul again, Francis Aratifi, so starting to get some decisions in his favour. Free kick quickly taken. Drops for Zorich, in fact, wide is Aratifi. And too much pressure there from Morich. Francis Aratifi, a new signing for Marconi, bought from South Melbourne. He's played for 3 Ericsson Cup clubs. He came to Australia in 1989 and joined Melbourne Knights. He then switched to South Melbourne, and now with his 3rd club, Marconi-Fairfield. 178 appearances for 81 goals. So better than a goal every 2 games for Francis Aratifi. And certainly has always been a controversial figure. And this time the foul goes against Aratifi, holding the shirt of Kuprashak. Popovich with the free kick. We're into stoppage time. I'd like to give credit right now to that referee out there, Condiomis. It's been a very, very tense game in these last 20 minutes or so, and he's refereed impeccably. You've got to say, Tony Bazzano, he's handled the situation superbly well, and there have been some pretty frayed tempers out there. But we'll stay with the action now. Drilic cuts it back to Milicic. The shot by Milicic wide of the mark.
We mentioned, Mike, at half-time that he was having a good game, but he's come out of that little incident about 10 minutes ago in flying colours. He's handled it more than well. It'd be interesting, actually, Mike, to see what happens to Branko Chelina. Being a coach for 20 games, every time I got off the bench, I got fined a couple of $100 by the New South Wales Soccer Federation. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to Branko for coming all the way on the pitch.
Yep, certainly controversy erupting there. Chelina in there and involved in the incident. But the scoreline remains intact. Sydney United 1, Marconi 1. We are into stoppages. Dramatic scenes here at Marconi Stadium. Is there time for a late winner from either side? Here comes Castley, the substitute. Offside, though, was Andrew Harper. Well, depending on other results, a draw may be enough to put Marconi on top of the Ericsson Cup table, only on goal difference, but if other results pan out over the weekend, they may find themselves on top. They certainly deserve credit for the way they battled away tonight. They could have been excused for being very frustrated when things didn't go for them in that opening 20 minutes or so, and then they really copped the goal against the run of play, but they've got themselves back into the game, and the substitute, Renault, found the equaliser in the 78th minute, and there have been chances since then as well. Aratifi almost turning from the villain to the hero in the space of a minute or so. Put a shot over the crossbar. So a lot of character in this Marconi side. We saw it last weekend at Leichhardt Oval when they drew 0-0 against UTS Olympic before a huge crowd there, and we've seen it again tonight.
I think without doubt, Mike, the player of the game here tonight has been the United keeper. He has been by far the busier of the two, and credit to him that it basically kept United into this match all the way.
Well, a draw would probably satisfy both coaches given the circumstances, but there is still enough time for a late winner. May come from Sydney United. Here's Morich now bursting forward, and it looked to be a free kick, not given by the referee, and Smith plays it short into Maloney. Looking for Aratifi in there. First was Kuprashak. This time Gench has the ball. What an important tackle that was by Longo. And Smith now too far in front of the run of Aratifi. We're now into the 6th minute of stoppage time. Here come United. Gench, players to his left, players to his right. Goes through the middle, they take Gench. The back pass there by Maloney, though. And cleaning up was Bob Catlin. A throw in to Sydney United. Well, it's been 5 years since Marconi have beaten Sydney United. 7 wins and 3 draws to the Crows. And honours all square at this point, but Sydney United looking for victory. Ennis's shot blocked. Milicic. Zorich back there for Marconi. Aratifi now. Wide left is Harper. Too far in front of Andrew Harper.
Morich here on the left-hand side for United. Mike screaming for the ball. That's where it had to go. They're trying to play the ball through the centre. It's not going to happen there. That's where the defence is. That's where the goals are. Get the ball wide and then create the space for your lads.
And Milicic now lays it off to Gench. Gench watched by Castley, and the Marconi substitute does well. The referee again looks at his watch. I can tell him we're now into the 7th minute of injury time. Here comes United. The shot there by Aitek Gench. Well wide of the mark, so it's still 1-1 here at Bossley Park. We can bring you an update from the Latrobe Valley. Another surprising scoreline. Adelaide City 4, Morwell Falcons 0. And earlier we heard that West Adelaide were leading UTS Olympic 3-0. There was a handball by Bolokovic.
Been a little bit quiet in the second half, Bolokovic, hasn't he, Mike?
Crowd getting behind the home team here, urging them on for a victory. The cross by Renner at the back post was Cassidy, but in there was Perosh. Now it's switched up the other end. Drilic looking to get in behind Stanton, the Marconi man there first. Still in the field of play, still with the Crows. Popovic, 1-2 with Milicic. Wide left is Rudan, and Plesher, I should say. In there, though, was Stanton making the interception. These players are so tight out there. Some of them can hardly stand up. It has certainly been an exhausting game. The cross by Milicic into the arms of Bob Catlin. Well, it has been a frenetic last 30 minutes. The level of intensity lifted, and some players really out on their feet there. The foul goes against Al-Ratifi. Too late on Ennis, says the referee. Morridge. Drilic. Ennis. Possession play by Sydney United. Now comes the long ball by Kuprashak. And Al-Ratifi back in defence for Marconi. Against Plesher on that right side. He gets the tackle in, the Marconi striker. He's done very well there, Francis Al-Ratifi. Applause from the Marconi fans. Longo in there firmly on Popovic. Renault there. Gens thought it was a foul still with Brendan Renault. And the ball is out of play, so a throw into Sydney United. Al-Ratifi is virtually playing as a defender at the moment for Marconi. Popovic has pushed himself forward for Sydney United.
First time you've seen two sets of teams, Mike, walking, and there's the full-time.
Well, there is the full-time whistle and ending a dramatic game at the Marconi Stadium, and several incidents in that second half will be talked about, I'm sure, during the week, but in the end, honours are even between these two close and fierce rivals. That man, John Perosh, my choice as man of the match. What a game he has had. But in the end, Marconi don't break the drought. It has been 5 seasons since they've beaten Sydney United. And Sydney United come to Bossley Park and walk away with a share of the points. So 1-1 is the scoreline. The scorer for Sydney United was Bolokovic, the substitute. Brendan Renault coming on for Marconi and scoring within a minute of taking the field. And while those players will have some disagreements, I'm sure at the end of the day, as we can see there between Kuprashak and Al-Ratifi, they'll be able to look back on 100% effort from each and every one of them. But in the end, neither side was able to break through for the victory. And the final score here at Bossley Park is Marconi 1, Sydney United 1. We'll now go down to the sideline where we have Robert Wheatley.
Yes, thanks, Mike. A white-hot atmosphere here on the sidelines, and certainly the game finishing under controversy. Situation where Marconi fought back into that match, and the two teams share the points, but certainly a lot of talking points after that match. And Bertie, it was very, very heated in that second half. The incident that caused it was that three-way collision between Perosh, Kuprashak and Al-Ratifi.
Yeah, one of those things, Rob. It was a nasty clash, but at the same time, nothing malice in it. I think the ensuing stoppage in time was very, very dangerous. I think the referee should have got the player off the park there as quick as possible and got the game started. Instead, we had players just waiting around for 4 or 5 minutes, and tempers were flaring.
Yeah, well, there's certainly it has overflowed. The atmosphere has. Branko Cellina, Steve Darby, also getting on the field. The coach of Sydney United certainly out of place.
Well, I'm amazed. I mean, the man I think we've got to admire there is young Robert Ennis, showing a lot of maturity for a young fella. What Branko's done there, I don't know. One thing that has amazed me and disgusted me is the amount of racial taunts from the crowd which Francis has been getting. I admire what Manfred Schaefer's done there. He's tried to calm down the whole thing. I mean, the players, we saw at the end Cooper Sack shaking hands with the White Chiefy. That's how it should be. Okay, you can belt each other all the game. After the game, it's gone. But I mean, some of the racist shouting has been appalling tonight. But certainly, I mean, fantastic game, ruined by some of the stupid incidents. I think the incident that happened with Pedosh was a pure accident. It might even have been Cooper Shake kicking his own player in the head, obviously accidental. But I mean, a fantastic atmosphere here. Well, you know, this is what the crowds must come back for. The quality of the football was superb. And I only hope it doesn't get overshadowed by the stupidity.
Well, Steve, it was a classic derby in every sense of the word, but what has actually occurred at Marconi Stadium tonight? The team's deadlocked after 90 minutes. Marconi-Fairfield won and Sydney United won. That leaves them all both in contention in the Ericsson Cup. And just reminding you, we'll be back with more action next week on kickoff and then more matches on Friday and Saturday night. Until then, on behalf of the Sports Australia team, Robert Wheatley saying good night. Oh, that's stupid. That's stupid. What? They're bloody supporters. They're crazy. That's madness. Paul Williams. Dorian. Dorian. You stay with that. Just stay with that, guest. Yeah, stay with that, guest. Peter Burley, all right? Good evening and good evening and welcome. Yes. Okay. You wouldn't want to get out of this ground too.
We're not going to do the link.
Okay.
What's this guy name?
Eric. We're not doing. We're not doing a link.
No.
We're doing this. You've buggered it again with the game.
Sorry? You stuck at the end of the
Oh,
game?
a little bit. Yeah, I haven't played.
Yeah, we haven't played for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I've played like 35 minutes in 2 weeks. So.
Big game for you personally?
Can you come and...
It was, yeah. Yeah, I was pumped. I mean, my form hasn't been the best.
Can you come and take your position, please, Roy?
For weeks, but
Eric, I'll talk to you, and then at the end you just have to stand.
Whereabouts?
Stand in the spot. Because it's part of the cutting, you have to
Eric,
cut
can
at the
you
end.
come over to here, please? The other side of Robbie. There we go. And face the camera.
Straight down the barrel.
And after Robbie said thank you, if you can just hold your position for about 5 seconds. At the end.
Tell me how tight I can get in, Dave.
Yeah, come round it straight up. You can come in first. Keep coming.
Shadow?
Don't worry about the mic. You keep coming towards me. That's it. Stop.
Mm.
Okay, we're rolling up through forward now.
What a game. You want you to see the replay. It was fair. Kuprashak looks like he hit him Perosh in the head.
yeah, well, they all slid in, didn't they?
They all it was a three-way collision. It was fair. They can't have any complaints about it. It was really. Big crowd, mate.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Players, you love the crowds. I mean, you just perform better.
Yeah,
You love the
bloody hell.
crowds. And if Marconi could get this every week, it'd be better. Marconi midfielder Eric Histradulu, probably one of the most heated derbies you've been involved in. Fierce rivalry from both sides.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It was a very competitive game due to the clubs being so close. I mean, I played for Cynic United last year, and I knew when I played against Marconi it was a big game, and no different tonight.
Well, your return to midfield was a positive one. You played extremely well, and you were replaced late in the game, but certainly a game full of chances for both sides.
Yeah, it was good. It was end to end. I mean, that's hopefully what the crowd likes. I mean, there were opportunities for us first half, then they came back at us and they had a couple of opportunities. In the end, I think it was a fair result.
And the most explosive incident, that three-way collision between the two Sydney United players and Francis Awaratufi, how did you see it?
Well, you really can't tell. I mean, you'd have to look at the replay. You know, Sydney United are saying that Francis collected John Perosh, but you really don't know when players are sliding in for the ball like that. It's very hard to tell unless you have a look at the video, and then you can judge.
Well, certainly John Perosh, the Sydney United keeper, had a magnificent game.
Yeah, I'm blind. He last couple of weeks to be sort of not being too hard on him. He has been copping a bit of slack from the Sydney United team, and I think tonight he's proved them right. Yeah.
Well, Eric, down 1-0 at half-time. What caused the turnaround for Marconi?
Well, really, Manfred said just keep going at them the way you're going. I mean, we didn't look like we should have been down 1-0. I mean, we had the better chances of the first half, and he just said keep plugging away and something will come from it, and in the end, it did.
Well, certainly Awaratifi and Harper have been your most prominent players, but Brendan Renault got the goal. Surprising to see him on the score sheet?
Oh, Brendan's another one. I mean, he's just waiting for a sniff, and he's more than capable of doing a job. And I mean, that's good for our team. We got a bit of depth here now, and it's competitive. Training's competitive, and everyone's competing for spots. It's good.
And in the end, are you happy with the 1 point?
We have to be. I mean, a point's a point. I mean, it would have been good to get 3 points, but yeah, we'll settle for a point.
Eric, thanks for joining Sports Australia.
Cheers. Bye.
We are right.
Yeah, I should have done that.
Very good, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Right.
mate.
Cheers, Rob.
Cheers. Thanks for that. Thank you. Dave, we're running out of lights. Dave? 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 Lights? Talk to the referee's director if you like. Oh. He's going to get it. Gary, any comment? I can get the national referees director if we can't get Manfred. Explosive scenes here tonight, Rick.
Think so? Hey Rob, what happened with Cooper? It was 10 years ago.
It looks like Kuprasak has come through on that side and gone straight into his face. Not Francis. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him. It was Francis. Francis went to actually shoot in the action of shooting. The goalkeeper's come out, and as he's gone down, the foot's come into his face like that. So. Forest for years. A lot of it players and coaches and. I can get. Not coming?
Yeah. Well,
I can get the national director of. I can get the referees, national director of referees.
Let's do it.
Gary
Is he-
Power. Yeah.
is he here?
He's just there. He's putting his seat.
okay, the National Director of Referees?
Yeah. Gary
Okay,
Power.
We've got the National Director of Referees, Gary Power.
Gary. Okay, we've got one other player. So what was I? I'm on this side. Hey? Yeah, but it's a vegan cigarette. Vegan.
He doesn't eat meat to keep healthy. He's smoking.
Why bother? Why bother? Just blow it all. Rob. Okay, mate. You alright? How's the boys in there? Charged up?
Everyone's talking about it.
Pumped up, mate, isn't it? Incredible.
It seems like this now, you know?
Hey?
It's like this all the time now, every game.
Why?
It's more competitive, the league. There's more at stake. The players are more eager to get a win. Anything flares, you know. We've had a couple of fights.
Well,
already. It's
maybe
ridiculous.
Olympic was one.
Yeah.
Rob, can you hold your board up? I'll do a colour balance.
The so it was nil or no, it was a draw, nil or draw, then 2-0 loss last week.
Mm-hmm.
Olympic was what, 3 weeks before that?
2-2 draw with
2-2
Olympic.
draw.
And then a
2-2
0-2 loss.
Okay. Yeah, well look at those other results tonight. 4-0 Adelaide City over Morwell, and West Adelaide were leading UTS 3-0.
Did
After
Rob,
26 minutes.
did Rob mention after
not
he said thank you at the end of the interview, you can just hold
just
your
have to stand in
for 5
position,
seconds?
Rob. And just,
Thank you.
but that was 3-0 at half an hour.
And what was the final score of that game?
Don't know. Oh, it's still playing. Still playing.
So long as you keep it still, Borche, keep the light still. Kathy's just balancing the camera. Just doing CCU, wait a second.
Oof.
It's just going to be on Optus.
Yeah.
Won't get it then.
If it's available. If it's available.
Maybe you can do a deal for me.
Yeah, I've got to get it yet. Finally get the tapes.
Alright, here we go, recording, here we go. Okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Sydney United midfielder Robert Ennis, one of the youngest players in the Sydney United side, but certainly probably one of the toughest derbies you've ever played in.
Exactly. In my short career, I haven't played in a game other such as this. Sydney United, Marconi have never experienced it. A very, very tense game, as was seen with the emotions flowing in the brawls and whatever else.
Well, certainly a lot at stake every week in the Ericsson Cup, but why more so this year?
I think the league's it's taken on a lot more of a competitive nature this year. Maybe because of the reduced teams, there's more at stake. Everyone wants to finish in the top 6. And with big derbies like this, emotions are bound to run very high.
Well, you put a draw, then a loss last weekend. Did you think you were going to go into that this match with a win after Paul Bolokovic opened the scoring?
We were under the hammer actually the first 10 minutes, and when Billo scored, I don't know if he scored, I think maybe it was about the 20th minute or so. We were very surprised. We'd been under the hammer, as I said, and when we scored, it lifted us a little bit. We created a little bit more. Marconi had a lot of chances, I got to admit. But I think in the end, 1-1 draw maybe was a good result for us because of the way, how much pressure we were under in the end.
Well, when that incident did flare up, what was going on? What was being said by all the players on the park? And did you speak to Branko Cellino when he came on the field?
I've got no comment on the whole situation, actually. I think it's best if I say nothing for the club and for the league.
Well, but tempers were certainly reaching boiling point.
A lot was going on. A lot was going on. I mean, it was a 5-minute spell where the game was stopped, and obviously a lot was being said, and a lot of things were happening behind the scenes.
In the end, the Marconi did score, and they put on the pressure right near the end. Are you satisfied with the draw in the at the end of 90 minutes?
We're never satisfied with the draw. We're always out to win. But at the end of the day, considering the pressure that we were under, I think maybe we could be happy with a 1-1 draw, even though we still got a lot to give in this competition, because we can play much better than what we did tonight.
All right, Robert Ennis, good luck in the future. Thanks for joining Sports Australia.
Thanks very much, Robbie.
Done. Done.
I think
that was
very
good.
well said. Yeah, very well said.
Thank you.
Rob, let you go and have a shower, mate. Thanks very much for that.
Thanks, Robert.